Commander Jake Morrison stared at the alien ships on his screen. 12 human vessels floated in deep space far from Earth. They had come to explore new worlds and find places where humans could live. Jake never expected to find a war waiting for him. The alien ships looked like giant metal snakes with glowing parts. There were 47 of them, all bigger than any human ship. Jake counted them twice to be sure. His own fleet had only 12 ships, and most were built for exploring, not fighting. "Sir, they're sending us a message," said Lieutenant Tom Baker from his station. The young officer looked nervous. Everyone on the bridge was nervous. This was humanity's first meeting with aliens, and it was not going well. The alien voice came through their speakers. It sounded like grinding metal. "Human ships, you have entered Zephyrian space without permission. You will pay tribute to the Empire or be destroyed. You have 1 hour to decide." Jake looked around his bridge. His crew waited for orders. These were good people who had signed up to explore space, not to fight aliens. But the aliens were not giving them a choice. "Open a channel to all ships," Jake said. "This is Commander Morrison. I want to speak to all captains." Soon the faces of his other captains appeared on his screen. Captain Lisa Hayes of the Defiant looked angry. Captain Ryan Cooper of the Rangers seemed calm but ready for action. The others looked worried but determined. "You all heard the aliens," Jake said. "They want us to pay them money or they'll attack us. What do you think we should do?" "We can't pay them," said Captain Hayes. "If we do that, they'll think humans are weak. Every alien we meet after this will try to push us around." "She's right," said Captain Cooper. "But we're outnumbered 4-1. Their ships are bigger than ours." "This won't be easy," Jake nodded. "I know, but we can't run home with our tails between our legs. Earth needs to know what's out here. If we don't stand up to these bullies, who will?" The other captains agreed. They would fight. Jake opened a channel to the alien commander. "This is Commander Morrison of the Earth Fleet. We don't recognize your authority over empty space. We're leaving this system and you're not going to stop us." The alien commander laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Foolish humans. You think your primitive ships can fight the mighty Zephyrian Empire? We have conquered 100 worlds. We will crush you like insects." "We'll see about that," Jake said and cut the channel. The alien ships moved first. They fired bright beams of energy at the human fleet. The beams were hot enough to melt steel, but the human ships were ready. They scattered in different directions, making it hard for the aliens to hit them. Captain Hayes fired back with something the aliens had never seen before. Her ship carried railguns that shot metal slugs faster than bullets. The slugs hit the alien ships like hammers. The aliens had shields to stop energy beams, but the metal slugs went right through them. One alien ship exploded in a ball of fire. Then another. The aliens couldn't believe it. Their shields were supposed to protect them from everything, but Captain Cooper had an even better surprise. His ship released thousands of small robots into space. Each robot was no bigger than a football, but they moved fast and were hard to see. The aliens tried to shoot them, but there were too many. The robots swarmed around the alien ships like angry bees. Each one carried a small bomb made of antimatter. When they hit the alien ships, they made huge explosions. The aliens watched in horror as their beautiful curved ships turned into twisted metal. The alien commander tried to retreat. "All ships, pull back. These humans are not what they seem." But it was too late. Captain Hayes and the other human captains pressed their attack. They had learned that the aliens were not as tough as they pretended to be. The human ships were smaller and looked weaker, but they hit harder and moved faster. Jake watched as alien ship after alien ship exploded or broke apart. His own ships took some damage, but nothing serious. The aliens had been so sure of their power that they never learned how to really fight. In just 3 hours, the battle was over. Only 6 alien ships survived, and they were badly damaged. They sent a message begging for mercy. "Please, humans, let us go," the alien commander said. His voice was different now. The pride was gone, replaced by fear. "We surrender. We will tell our people that this space belongs to you." Jake thought about it. He could destroy the remaining alien ships easily, but that would make him no better than them. "You can go," he said. "But remember this day. Tell your people that humans don't start fights, but we finish them." The alien ships limped away into space. Jake knew they would spread the word about what happened here. Soon, every alien in the galaxy would know that humans were not easy prey. Captain Hayes called from her ship. "Jake, we did it." "We actually won." "Yes, we did," Jake replied. "But this is just the beginning. When word gets out about this fight, Other aliens are going to want to test us too. Captain Cooper's voice joined the conversation. Let them come. We'll show them the same thing we showed these Zephyrians. Jake hoped it would be that simple, but deep down, he knew this victory would bring more trouble. Aliens didn't like losing, especially to a species they thought was weak. The galaxy was about to learn what humans could do when pushed too far. He looked at his crew. They were proud of their victory, and they should be. They had just won humanity's first space battle against impossible odds. But Jake knew this was only the first test. Bigger challenges were coming. Set course for home, he ordered. Earth needs to know what we learned out here. As the human ships turned toward home, Jake wondered what they would find waiting for them when they returned to Earth. Would his people be ready for war? Because war was coming whether they wanted it or not. The aliens had started something they couldn't finish. Now it was humanity's turn to show the galaxy what they were made of, and Jake had a feeling the aliens were not going to like what they found. The news traveled fast across the galaxy. Every alien civilization heard the same shocking story. The mighty Zephyrian Empire had sent 47 warships to crush 12 human vessels. Only 6 Zephyrian ships came back, and they were barely flying. Admiral Alex Rodriguez sat in his office on the space station orbiting Earth. He had been promoted after the first battle with the aliens. Now his job was to keep Earth safe and try to make peace with the galaxy. But the messages coming from alien worlds were not friendly. "Sir, we have another communication from the Ethereal Consortium," said his aide, Lieutenant Kelly Morgan. She looked tired. They had been getting messages from angry aliens all week. Alex sighed. "Put it on screen." The alien that appeared looked like a bright cloud of light in the shape of a person. It spoke in a voice that sounded like music, but the words were not pleasant. "Admiral Rodriguez, I am Ambassador Veltar of the Ethereal Consortium. Your species has committed an act of war against the Zephyrian Empire. You will surrender immediately and submit to galactic justice." Alex had heard this speech many times from different aliens. They all said the same thing. Humans were troublemakers who needed to be punished. None of them seemed to care that the Zephyrians had attacked first. "Ambassador Veltar," Alex said, "we have explained this many times. We acted in self-defense. The Zephyrians attacked our exploration fleet without cause. We seek peace with all alien civilizations." The light being flickered with anger. "You destroyed an Imperial fleet with primitive weapons. This shows you are dangerous savages who cannot be trusted. The great powers of the galaxy have decided to take action." Alex leaned forward. "What kind of action?" "You have 7 days to surrender all your military ships and accept consortium rule. If you refuse, we will join with the Hive Worlds and the Silicon Empire to bring peace to this sector by force." The transmission ended. Alex stared at the blank screen for a long moment. Then he called for an emergency meeting with Earth's military leaders. General Katie Murphy arrived first. She was a tough woman who had fought in the colonial wars on Mars. Behind her came Dr. Nathan Price, Earth's top expert on alien technology. They sat around the table in the secure conference room. "So they're really going to do it," General Murphy said. "All 3 major powers working together. When was the last time that happened?" Dr. Price checked his notes. "Never. The Ethereal Consortium, the Hive Worlds, and the Silicon Empire have been rivals for thousands of years. They've never agreed on anything, except that they don't like us," Alex said. "How many ships are we talking about? If they all work together?" Dr. Price did some calculations on his tablet. "Maybe 800 warships, possibly more if they can get smaller civilizations to join them." General Murphy whistled. "Against how many of our ships?" "About 90, Alex said. "Maybe 100 if we use every vessel we have, including cargo ships with weapons bolted on." The room was quiet. Even the most optimistic person would call those bad odds. "Sir," Lieutenant Morgan said from the doorway, "Ambassador Veltar has arrived at the station. He wants to meet with you." Alex nodded. "Show him to conference room 3. Katie, Nathan, you're with me." Ambassador Veltar waited for them in the meeting room. Up close, he looked even stranger. His body was made of glowing energy that shifted and moved like smoke. When he spoke, lights danced around his form. "Admiral Rodriguez, I have come to accept your surrender personally. The consortium believes in showing mercy to primitive species." Alex sat down across from the alien. General Murphy and Dr. Price flanked him. "We are not surrendering, Ambassador. We're offering to discuss terms for peaceful coexistence." Veltar's glow grew brighter. "You misunderstand your situation, human. Your species shows promise as workers in our mining operations. We are prepared to let you live if you accept your proper place in the galactic order." "And what place is that?" General Murphy asked. "Servants," Veltar said simply. "Your people are violent and unpredictable, but they can be useful. We will relocate you to worlds where you can work in our factories and mines. In return, we will protect you from other species who might want to eliminate you completely." Dr. Price leaned forward. "What about our technology? Our culture? Our freedom?" Veltar made a sound like wind chimes. "Primitive species do not need such things. We will provide everything you require. Food, shelter, purpose. It is far more than you deserve after attacking our allies." Alex felt his anger rising, but he kept his voice calm. "Ambassador, we've given you our answer. Human space is off limits to all alien military forces. Any ships that enter our territory with hostile intent will be destroyed." The energy being flickered faster. "You cannot be serious. Do you understand what you face? The combined might of 3 galactic empires, ships that have conquered entire star systems, weapons that can crack planets, billions of soldiers ready to die for their civilizations." "I understand," Alex said. "Do you understand what you're up against?" Veltar laughed. It sounded like breaking glass. 12 ships destroyed 47 Zephyrian vessels by luck and surprise. "But luck runs out, Admiral. When our fleets arrive, there will be nowhere to hide." Alex stood up. "Then you better bring everything you have, Ambassador. Because if you come to our home looking for a fight, you're going to get one." Veltar rose from his chair, his form growing taller and brighter. "Very well, human. You have chosen extinction over servitude. I will broadcast your defiance across the galaxy. Let all species see what happens to those who challenge their betters." After the alien left, the 3 humans sat in silence for a moment. "Think he'll really do it?" General Murphy asked. "Oh, he'll do it," Dr. Price said. "And he'll make sure everyone knows we refuse to surrender. They want to make an example of us." Alex walked to the window and looked out at Earth. The blue planet looked peaceful from here, but soon it would be surrounded by the largest invasion fleet in galactic history. "Katie, I want you to activate all our defense plans. Every weapon system, every hidden base, everything we've been working on since the Zephyrian incident." "What about the civilian population?" she asked. "Start moving people to the underground cities. This is going to be the fight of our lives." Dr. Price was still looking at his calculations. "Alex, even with all our preparations, the odds are terrible." "I know," Alex said. "But they made one mistake." "What's that?" Alex smiled grimly. "They think they know what humans are capable of. They're about to learn they were wrong." Outside the station, space looked empty and peaceful. But Alex knew that somewhere out there, the largest military alliance in galactic history was preparing for war. They were coming to crush humanity once and for all. Let them come, Alex thought. They wanted to see what humans could do when their backs were against the wall. Soon they would find out. Fleet Admiral Ben Carter stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the alien armada arrive at the edge of the solar system. 837 ships from dozens of different worlds, all united by one goal: the complete destruction of humanity. "My God," whispered Captain Jenny Adams from the weapons station. "I've never seen so many ships in one place." Ben had to agree. The alien fleet stretched across space like a metal cloud. There were massive battleships the size of cities, sleek cruisers that looked like deadly arrows, and swarms of smaller fighters that moved like schools of fish. Every ship carried weapons that could level mountains. Against this armada, Ben had 97 human vessels. Many were converted cargo ships with armor welded on and guns bolted to their hulls. It looked hopeless. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the enemy fleet," reported Lieutenant Dave Collins. "Put it on screen." The alien commander who appeared was made of living metal. His body was covered in sharp angles and glowing circuits. When he spoke, his voice sounded like grinding gears. "I am Supreme Commander Asthakol of the Silicon Empire. Humans of Sol, you face the combined might of 3 galactic empires and their allies. This is your final chance. Surrender now, and we may allow some of your kind to live as slaves. Resist, and we will turn your worlds into glass and use your sun as a monument to your foolishness." Ben looked at his crew. They were scared, but they were ready. Earth was behind them, and there was nowhere to run. "This is Fleet Admiral Ben Carter of the Earth Defense Force," Ben replied. "You want to know what humanity is capable of? You're about to find out." He cut the transmission and opened a channel to all human ships. "All captains, this is Admiral Carter. Remember your training. Stay fast, stay smart, and make every shot count. Today we show the galaxy that Earth doesn't back down from bullies. The battle began with a massive energy barrage from the alien fleet. Hundreds of bright beams lanced through space toward the human ships. But the humans didn't try to fight like the aliens expected. Instead of forming battle lines, they scattered in all directions. Captain Nolan Gray's destroyer, the Vanguard, demonstrated humanity's newest secret weapon. His ship seemed to vanish from all alien sensors, becoming nearly invisible. The aliens fired at empty space while Gray's ship appeared in the middle of their formation. Firing fusion torpedoes, Gray reported calmly. His weapons tore through 6 alien cruisers before his ship disappeared again into the darkness. The alien commanders were confused. How could primitive human ships become invisible? Their sensors showed nothing, but their ships kept exploding. Colonel Sarah Brooks led a squadron of human fighters in what looked like suicide runs against the alien capital ships. Her pilots flew their small craft directly at ships 1,000 times their size, dodging energy beams and missile swarms. Remember, aim for the weak points, Sarah radioed to her squadron. Dr. Price's intelligence reports say their shield generators are located near the engine section. The fighters weaved through defensive fire like dancers. Many were shot down, but the ones that got through did terrible damage. Human pilots showed a willingness to die for their cause that chilled even the most hardened alien warriors. But the real surprise came when the aliens got close to Earth. Hidden in the asteroid belt, disguised as mining stations, were humanity's orbital defense platforms. Each platform was the size of a small moon and packed with weapons the aliens thought impossible. "This is Platform Alpha," came the voice of Commander Bill Watson. "We have multiple targets in range. Antimatter cannons are charged and ready. Fire at will," Ben ordered. The platforms revealed themselves like sleeping giants waking up. Beams of pure destruction lanced out from their massive guns. Where the beams hit alien ships, the vessels simply ceased to exist, torn apart at the atomic level. The alien formation broke apart in panic. Supreme Commander Azthakol screamed orders at his captains, but chaos had taken hold. Ships that had never known defeat suddenly found themselves outgunned by supposedly primitive humans. "Impossible," Azthakol raged. "How do they have such weapons?" "Our intelligence said they were centuries behind us." Captain Maria Santos of the human cruiser Liberty answered that question by demonstrating another human innovation. Her ship deployed gravity mines that created artificial black holes. The mines pulled alien ships apart like toys. The battle raged for 6 days and nights. The aliens kept throwing ships at the human defenses, but human technology proved superior in ways they never expected. Human ships were faster and more maneuverable. Human weapons hit harder, and human tactics were unpredictable. On the 4th day, the aliens tried a direct assault on Earth itself. 100 ships broke through the outer defenses and headed for the blue planet. They thought they could force humanity to surrender by threatening their homeworld. They were wrong. Earth's surface was protected by particle beam arrays that could reach into space. As the alien ships approached, the planet itself seemed to come alive with defensive fire. Beams of energy reached up from the surface like the fingers of an angry god. But the most shocking moment came when Admiral Jake Morrison arrived with reinforcements. His fleet of 30 ships had been recalled from deep space, and they brought new weapons that made the aliens' blood run cold. "Sorry we're late," Morrison radioed to Ben. "We had to stop and pick up some presents for our guests." Morrison's ships launched weapons that the aliens couldn't understand. Devices that seemed to eat space itself, creating voids that swallowed everything they touched. The aliens watched their most powerful battleships disappear into nothingness. By the end of the 6th day, the great alien armada was broken. Of the 837 ships that had arrived to conquer humanity, fewer than 50 limped away from the Sol system. The rest were destroyed or captured. Supreme Commander Azthakol's flagship was one of the few that escaped, but barely. His ship was missing half its hull and most of its weapons. As he fled, he sent one last message to the human fleet. "This is not over, humans. The galaxy will not forget this day." Admiral Carter's response was broadcast on all frequencies. "Good, we want the galaxy to remember. Humanity is not your prey. We are your equals, and we will be treated with respect. Any species that wants peace will find us reasonable neighbors. Any species that wants war will find us terrible enemies." As the surviving alien ships disappeared into hyperspace, Ben looked out at the debris field that had once been the largest military alliance in galactic history. His own losses had been heavy too. 23 human ships were destroyed and hundreds of brave men and women had died, but Earth was safe. The blue planet still turned peacefully in space, its cities intact and its people free. "Admiral," Captain Adams said, "we're getting reports from our deep space stations. Word of the battle is spreading fast. Every alien civilization in the galaxy knows what happened here." Ben nodded. The victory would bring consequences. Some aliens would want revenge. Others would seek alliance with the species that had just proven itself the strongest military force in known space. "Set condition yellow throughout the fleet," Ben ordered. "This war isn't over. It's just beginning." Admiral Jake Morrison watched the Zephyrian homeworld grow larger on his screen. The planet Kethara hung in space like a green and blue jewel, protected by orbital fortresses that had defended it for 1,000 years. Today those defenses would be tested by human weapons. "Sir, we're detecting massive energy signatures from the planet," reported Captain Linda Ross from her science station. "They have at least 20 orbital platforms and over 100 defensive satellites. The minefield extends for thousands of kilometers in all directions." Jake nodded. The Zephyrians had learned from their earlier defeat. After losing their first fleet to humans, they had pulled back all their forces to protect their home system. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier they had left was here. "How many ships are we facing?" Jake asked. 237 combat vessels, Captain Ross replied, "plus the orbital defenses. They're ready for us." Jake's fleet had only 30 ships, but these were not the converted cargo vessels that had defended Earth. These were purpose-built warships, designed by human engineers who had studied every scrap of alien technology they could find. Each ship was faster, tougher, and deadlier than anything humanity had built before. "Open a channel to all ships," Jake ordered. "This is Admiral Morrison. The Zephyrians started this war when they attacked our exploration fleet. Today we finish it. Show them what happens when you pick a fight with humanity." The Zephyrian commander, Admiral Kethvar, broadcast his own message. "Human invaders, you have come far from your primitive world only to die. Our defenses are impregnable. Our warriors are ready. Turn back now or face total destruction." "Admiral Kethvar," Jake replied, "you had your chance for peace. You chose war instead. Now you get to live with that choice." The battle began with the Zephyrians trying their old tactics. They fired massive energy beams at the human fleet, hoping to overwhelm them with firepower. But the human ships moved like ghosts, appearing and disappearing thanks to their stealth technology. Commander Tony Martinez led the first wave of human attackers. His modified cargo vessels looked harmless as they drifted toward the minefield, their engines cold and their weapons powered down. The Zephyrians ignored them, thinking they were just debris from some old battle. They were wrong. When Martinez's ships reached the edge of the minefield, they came alive. Hidden compartments opened and released thousands of small drones. Each drone carried a device that could disable the mine's sensors, turning the Zephyrians' own weapons against them. "Minefield is neutralized," Martinez reported. "Path to the planet is clear." But Jake had a different target in mind. The orbital fortresses were powerful, but they had a weakness. They were built to fight ships in space, not to defend against boarding parties. "Colonel Steve Parker, you're up." Jake radioed to the Marine commander. Parker's assault ships were small and fast. They dodged through the defensive fire like bullets, too quick for the big guns to track. When they reached the fortresses, Marines in powered armor cut through the metal hulls like they were made of paper. The fighting inside the fortresses was brutal. Zephyrian soldiers were tough and desperate, but human Marines were tougher. They had trained for this kind of combat in the low-gravity environments around Earth. Here, they moved like deadly dancers while their enemies stumbled in the unfamiliar conditions. One by one, the orbital fortresses fell silent. Their guns stopped firing, their shields went dark. The Zephyrians watched in horror as their ancient defenses crumbled before the human assault. Admiral Kethvar tried one last desperate move. He ordered all his remaining ships to ram the human vessels, hoping to take them down in suicide attacks. It didn't work. Captain Ryan Cooper, now commanding the heavy cruiser destroyer, showed why human tactics were so effective. His ship released a cloud of micro-missiles, each one programmed to track a specific target. The Zephyrian ships flew into a wall of explosions that tore them apart before they could reach their targets. In less than 4 hours, The battle for Kethara was over. The Zephyrian fleet was destroyed. Their orbital defenses were captured or eliminated. Their homeworld lay defenseless before the human fleet. "Sir, we're receiving surrender signals from the planet," Captain Ross reported. Jake looked at the green world on his screen. Billions of Zephyrians lived down there. They were the same species that had attacked his exploration fleet, but most of them were just civilians who wanted to live in peace. "Accept their surrender," Jake ordered. "But we're going down there to make sure they understand the terms." The human landing was swift and overwhelming. General Rick Campbell led 10,000 Marines to the surface in armored dropships. The Zephyrian military tried to resist, but their ground forces were no match for human technology and tactics. Human soldiers wore powered armor that made them stronger and faster than any Zephyrian warrior. Their weapons could punch through the heaviest alien armor. Their vehicles moved across the battlefield like metal predators, unstoppable and deadly. The capital city of Kethara fell in 2 days. General Campbell set up his headquarters in the ruins of the Zephyrian Parliament building. The alien leaders who had once ruled an empire now knelt before human officers, begging for mercy. Admiral Jake Morrison arrived on the planet's surface 3 days later. He walked through the streets of the conquered city, flanked by human Marines. The Zephyrian civilians watched from their windows, too afraid to come outside. In the great hall where Zephyrian emperors had once held court, Jake met with the surviving alien leadership. Emperor Zethkol looked old and broken, his proud bearing replaced by defeat. "Admiral Morrison," the emperor said in halting English, "we surrender unconditionally. Please spare my people. They are not responsible for the actions of our military." Jake studied the alien leader. "Your people will not be harmed as long as they follow our rules. But your empire is finished. Your military is disbanded. Your warships will be scrapped or given to species you once oppressed." Emperor Zethkol bowed his head. "What of our colonies? Our trade routes?" "Your colonies are free to govern themselves," Jake replied. "Your trade routes are open to all species, not just Zephyrians. The age of your empire is over." The ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy. Every alien civilization watched as the mighty Zephyrian empire formally surrendered to humanity. Jake stood in the ruins of their capital and delivered a message that sent chills through alien governments everywhere. "Let this be a lesson to all who would threaten peaceful species," Jake said. "Humanity did not seek this war. We came to the stars in peace, hoping to find friends and allies. Instead, we found bullies and tyrants who believed might made right." He gestured to the defeated Zephyrians around him. "We have shown that humanity is stronger than any empire built on conquest and oppression. But we are also merciful to those who surrender and seek peace." Jake's next words made alien leaders across the galaxy reach for their emergency communication systems. "However, our mercy has limits. Any species that threatens human colonies, attacks our ships, or harms our allies will face the same fate as the Zephyrian Empire. We have 10 more fleets preparing to launch from Earth. They will patrol the galaxy and enforce a new kind of order." The broadcast ended, but its message was clear. Humanity was no longer content to defend itself. They were taking the fight to their enemies, systematically dismantling every threat to galactic peace. Over the following months, human fleets appeared at a dozen worlds. The ethereal consortium found their energy being scattered by human weapons that disrupted their coherence. The hive worlds discovered that their swarm tactics were useless against human technology that could track and destroy millions of targets simultaneously. Each victory followed the same pattern. Human forces would arrive, overwhelm the enemy defenses, and offer surrender terms. Those who accepted were allowed to live in peace under human protection. Those who refused were eliminated as threats to galactic stability. Admiral Morrison returned to Earth to find a changed world. Humanity was no longer a small species hiding in one solar system. They were the dominant military power in the galaxy, feared by enemies and respected by allies. But Jake knew the job was not finished. There were still species out there who refused to accept the new reality. They would keep fighting until humanity proved once and for all that resistance was futile. The hunter had become the hunted, and the galaxy would never be the same. Fleet Admiral Ben Carter stood on the observation deck of humanity's newest flagship, the Dominion. Around him stretched the largest military force ever assembled by any species in galactic history. 11 human fleets, each containing 100 of the most advanced warships ever built. hung in space like a constellation of deadly stars. "Sir, we're receiving confirmation from all fleet commanders," reported Captain Mark Williams. "Admiral Hayes with 2nd Fleet is in position near the ethereal home systems. Admiral Cooper has 3rd Fleet covering the former Hive territories. All other fleets are in position at their assigned sectors." Ben nodded. After 2 years of systematic campaigns, humanity had defeated or absorbed every major military power in the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire was gone. The ethereal consortium had scattered to distant stars. The Silicon Empire existed only in history books. Now came the hardest part, building peace from the ashes of war. "Any word from the Galactic Council?" Ben asked. "They've agreed to meet with Ambassador White," Captain Williams replied. "The session starts in 6 hours," Ben smiled. The Galactic Council had once been the most powerful political body in known space, representing hundreds of civilizations. They had ignored humanity's attempts at peaceful contact. They had supported the military alliance that tried to destroy Earth. Now they were begging for a meeting with human representatives. Ambassador Patricia White stepped onto the bridge, wearing the formal blue uniform of the Earth Diplomatic Corps. She was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes, but Ben knew she could be as tough as any admiral when the situation required it. "How are our hosts treating you?" Ben asked. Patricia laughed. "Like visiting royalty. The Nexus Prime government has rolled out the red carpet. Every alien diplomat is trying to get my attention. It's amazing what 1,000 warships in orbit will do for your popularity." Ben looked out at the space around Nexus Prime, the galactic capital. The planet was beautiful, covered in gleaming cities that housed representatives from every known species. It had been the center of galactic civilization for thousands of years. Now it was under human protection, whether the inhabitants liked it or not. "Are you ready for this?" Ben asked Patricia. "As ready as anyone can be to reshape galactic civilization," she replied. "The terms we're offering are fair, more fair than these species deserve considering what they tried to do to Earth." Ben agreed. Humanity could have ruled the galaxy as conquerors, taking whatever they wanted from the defeated alien civilizations. Instead, they were offering something unprecedented, true equality under a system of laws enforced by overwhelming military power. The Galactic Council chamber was packed when Patricia arrived. Representatives from 300 species filled the massive amphitheater, their various forms creating a rainbow of colors and shapes. Some were humanoid, others were energy beings or living crystals or creatures that defied easy description. All of them were afraid. Ambassador Veltar of the Ethereal Consortium was there, his glow much dimmer than when he had demanded humanity's surrender 2 years ago. The Hive Queen's representative sat in a special environmental suit, her insect-like form twitching nervously. Even species that had never joined the war against humanity looked worried. Patricia took her place at the central podium, flanked by 2 human Marines in dress uniforms. The symbolism was clear. Humanity spoke from a position of absolute strength. "Honored representatives," Patricia began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's translation systems, "I bring greetings from Earth and an offer of peace from the human species." A murmur went through the assembled delegates. They had expected demands for surrender, not offers of peace. For too long, this galaxy has been divided by endless wars between competing empires, Patricia continued. Species conquered other species, enslaved entire populations, and destroyed civilizations for the crime of being weak. Humanity offers a different path. She gestured to a holographic display that showed the current state of the galaxy. Human fleet positions were marked in blue, covering every major system and trade route. "We propose a new galactic order based on 3 simple principles," Patricia said. "First, no species may attack or enslave another. Second, all worlds have the right to govern themselves as they choose. Third, trade and communication between species will be free and open to all." The chamber erupted in noise as delegates talked among themselves. Some seemed relieved, others suspicious. A few looked angry. Veltar was the first to speak. "Ambassador White, your terms sound reasonable, but what guarantee do we have that humanity will not abuse its power? You have conquered the galaxy's greatest empires. What prevents you from becoming tyrants yourselves?" Patricia had expected this question. "Because it serves our interest to have peaceful, prosperous neighbors rather than rebellious slaves. Happy civilizations trade more, innovate more, and cause fewer problems. Oppressed peoples eventually rebel, no matter how powerful their oppressors." A representative from the Cygnus Republic raised a tentacle. What of species that refuse to accept human authority? Patricia's expression grew cold. Those species will face the consequences of their choice. We have 11 fleets positioned throughout the galaxy. Each fleet is capable of defeating any military force currently in existence. Resistance is not just futile, it's suicide. To emphasize her point, the lights in the chamber dimmed for a moment as human ships moved into new positions around the planet. The demonstration was subtle but effective. The debate continued for hours. Some delegates tried to negotiate better terms. Others asked about specific situations in their home systems. A few even dared to voice objections to human rule. Patricia handled each question with patience but firmness. Humanity was not interested in micromanaging alien civilizations. They would be allowed to maintain their own cultures, governments, and ways of life, but they would do so under human protection and according to human rules. Finally, the moment came for the formal vote. The Galactic Council would either accept humanity's terms or reject them and face the consequences. The vote was unanimous. Every single delegate raised their hand, tentacle, claw, or energy field in agreement. For the first time in galactic history, all major civilizations had agreed to follow the same set of laws. Patricia allowed herself a small smile. The Universal Peace Accord is now in effect. Human fleets will enforce these new laws throughout the galaxy. Any violations will be met with swift and decisive action. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, many stopped to speak with Patricia. Some thanked her for humanity's merciful terms. Others asked about trade agreements and diplomatic exchanges. A few even invited her to visit their homeworlds. Ambassador Veltar was among the last to leave. The ethereal approached Patricia with obvious reluctance. "Ambassador White," he said, his glow flickering with uncertainty. "I must admit I was wrong about your species. We expected you to rule us as we once ruled others. Instead, you offer us partnership." Patricia studied the energy being. "Veltar, your people tried to enslave my entire species. By rights, we could have scattered your consciousness to the cosmic winds. Instead, we're offering you a chance to live in peace and dignity. I hope you'll remember that when you're tempted to test our resolve." Veltar's glow steadied. "We will remember, Ambassador." The ethereal consortium accepts human leadership gratefully. After the alien delegates departed, Patricia stood alone in the empty chamber. Outside, the lights of Nexus Prime sparkled like stars, and above them, human warships stood guard over the galactic capital. Her communicator chimed with an incoming message from Admiral Carter. "Patricia, how did it go?" "Better than expected," she replied. "They all signed the accord. We're officially the new galactic government." "Any problems we should know about?" Patricia thought for a moment. "Nothing we can't handle. There will be species that test our limits, try to find loopholes in the agreement, but I think most of them understand the new reality." "Good. The President wants a full report when you get back to Earth." Patricia laughed. "Tell him the galaxy is now safe for democracy, human style." As she prepared to return to Earth, Patricia reflected on what humanity had accomplished. In less than 3 years, they had gone from a single-world species to the rulers of the galaxy. They had defeated empires that had existed for millennia and imposed their will on civilizations that had never known defeat. But more importantly, they had brought something new to the galaxy, the idea that strength should be used to protect the weak, not exploit them. For the first time in galactic history, peace was not just a temporary pause between wars, but a permanent state enforced by those with the power to maintain it. The age of human dominance had begun, and it would last for as long as humanity remembered the lessons of their own history. Power corrupts, but it could also liberate. The key was using it wisely. Patricia looked up at the stars, knowing that somewhere among them human fleets were patrolling the trade routes and protecting innocent worlds from those who would do them harm. It was a heavy responsibility, but one humanity had proven worthy to bear. The galaxy would never be the same, and that, Patricia thought, was exactly as it should be.